Hey guys, it's Tartan coming at you with another game of hardcore Diablo 2. We're here with our Sorceress again, level 24. It's about to be the good levels. Of course, we got Meteor, which is like fine. You know, the character's called Meteorb. You know, you really cast Fireball a lot. And we don't have Orb yet, you know, but soon. Anyway, we do have one level until we grab our Spirit, and that'll be exciting. You know, that'll be a big power spike. It'll also be a big amount of mana for us. And then that will be very good indeed. An Am rune. Very cool. You can never have too many of them. I don't know how many I have, but I could always use another. These guys are pretty fire resistant, I think, or at least marginally, which is the same. Went inside of the pillar there. But of course, the real beauty of Sorceress is that when you look at a place like that and you think, I don't feel like walking around there. You know, you can either fight or not, but you don't have to walk like an animal. And the rare thing that Asab has a like a 5% chance to cast Frost Nova, which is pretty nice. It's like a medium dangerous roll for mobs here. Erdars are like, they're very punchy dudes. They, you know, they've got a knockback, which can be a big problem, and they have very large hit point pools, which are always a problem, right? But speaking of hit point pools, we're finally getting some super potions off of dudes, and then, you know, drinking them afterwards sometimes. Which is good, because our hit point pool at 430, which feels so good, because, you know, like, we gotta have some way to keep ourselves alive. In this cruel world where everything is trying to stand against the Sorceress, who's just minding her own business and casting fireballs. You know, it's important to keep sight of what really matters. The fact that we're so close to level 25, and then we're gonna have to drink, you know, less potions, and then a few levels away from 27, and the same story there. Now we are gonna need to make a sub like a hat or a piece of armor with a couple of amethysts in it for a few levels, but that'll be fine. I have an insight made. I mean, I could make another one, I guess. I just have one RAL, but I have plenty of all the other stuff in there for it. Hey Kemi, how are you? Say glory to me the Empire. Indeed. Ave Imperator and all that. Something something the victorious dead. There's a lot of that here in Diablo. Not a very nice place, the River of Flame, although, to be fair, if there were one, people would pay money to go. I mean, with or without the dinosaur-like creations. Because, look, a demon is just a dinosaur to somebody who doesn't know better. And we've all seen Jurassic Park. We know that people would go. But the rivers are on fire, and the demons are trying to kill you. Well, unless they can open doors, I don't see why that would be a problem. Throw a little blizzard down, a little bit of adorable area denial, and then fireball follow-up as is tradition. I'm out of mana again. Man, oh man. This level cannot come fast enough. But you know, those are just breaks. Also, we only have a 3-slot belt, which is pretty pathetic, but it does at least have 20 life on it. Do I have a better one in the stash yet? I mean, I've got to, right? That one's level 50. You know, we might not have a better one in here. We can get the 25 life Grand Charm. Do we get rid of the smaller ones to get that? Yes, we've got to have some inventory space. We can retire the 2 crummy Grand Charms to replace it with the one good one that I definitely 100% took from the Necromancer. The poor, long-suffering Necromancer. $25 for that belt. We just need to get to 60 strength. Got it. Because that belt would actually be pretty nice with the 40 health on it. Alright, yeah, well, we'll just take strength at the next level. Easy. We might push to like 95 for the Alder's boots. Because they're pretty solid. They have 50 life on them and like 50 fire resist. The 50 life translates to 25 vitality points or 25 strength. So going from like 60 where we'd be at to 85, you only got to get 10 more to get to them. What we're going to do is run back this way because we know that Hephaestus will never, ever, ever be above the waypoint. And I'm pretty sure that's true. Don't make me look like a liar, game. No, he'll never be above the waypoint. I'm so sure that it's true that I said it before I said I don't know if it's true. It's not right here. It's just not above the waypoint, right? I don't think it can be. It's not important. If it ultimately is, we'll pretend this never happened. Where you at, old boy? I know you're out here somewhere. To the left here. Yeah. You always expect the forge to populate in this direction, right? Where you where you come toward it. You could go, like, either direction toward it, but once you're there, you know, it'll be side to side. You're not going to walk up into the area. You know, it's going to be on the horizontal axis every time. And I, of course, have run out of mana again, and aggroed a bunch of mobs right before going in, so potentially could have a little bit of a funny time going through afterward. You know, it's actually kind of an interesting charm. I don't hate it. I don't think it matters, though. Because, like, even if we ever make a barbarian, we're not going to spend our space on, you know, damage charms. It's going to be life. And there's that old Kleegloss Longsword again. The game cannot get enough of dropping Kleegloss Longsword. 5% Magic Fine Gauntlets. Might as well be gray. That's not true if they were regular. Not gray, but, you know, whitish. If they were regular, at least you could have imbued them at Charcy. So really, they're worse than useless. Three bars to 25, where we will double our mana pool. This orb is just straight trash, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's got a little bit of fast cast. That's something. Thorun, not an amazing roll. You never expect anything good. You can't get higher than Hell Rune on this forge anyway. Congratulations, hero. It's like, man, I guess we could carry the Magic Fine Charm. After all, what's important? More important, inventory space or the ability to get more things in your inventory space? Hello, Hadriel. Proceed, hero, into Terror's lair. Couldn't agree more, buddy. That's exactly what we're gonna do. But we haven't seen a single fire-breathing demon dude, Venom Lord analog, whatever the first ones are called. I don't actually remember. But you know, the winged guys with the swords and all. We haven't seen one of them the whole run. And we'll certainly see at least the pack inside, but they're one of the most annoying mobs to deal with in Act 4, so you know, dodging them is nice. I mean, they're not super bad for us. We do have max resist because of, you know, the shield that we've inherited. And I'm like, we don't want to move too far forward here. But no, we'll get the level inside of the sanctuary anyway. But obviously, this is a point where we quite want to be fighting mobs since we have a massive power spike waiting with the next level. And I'm out of mana again. Melee the Urdars, that does sound like a good idea. But I think we'll probably pass on that. They are big punchy boys, and they do respect power, you know, but maybe we're not quite ready. You know, we're still pumping decks right now, trying to get block respectable for when we move over to our Rhyme Shield. Here, let's make sure we enchant ourselves. Alright, hiya! Hiya! Hey, I did it! You're right, bravery is rewarded. We cast the enchant, that's why, you know, we just, like, ran right over him. Absolutely demolished. Well, happy to have you, security. Welcome. Welcome. We play lots of different stuff, but as of late, been back on this kick. Got my Necromancer defeated Bale on hardcore ladder just a week or so ago, maybe, and so this is my second hardcore character here. We need to get a sub back, poor guy, and buy, you know, more mana pots, because we are so mana potion hungry. Yeah, I played on release, right? Basically, the first game. No, I played the demo of Diablo 1. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so, but I did play Diablo 2 Resurrected basically as soon as it came out. It was right as I had, like, gotten my surgery on my hands, so they weren't, like, super perfect, but played it a lot, and I loved the original as well, but I stopped playing, you know, I played for a few months super heavy, and then I stopped playing, you know, pursuing other games and such. So I didn't keep track of all of the changes or whatever. And now, like, so I come back to it with the Warlock, which was a lot of fun, and, like, with the shared stash, like, 5 tabs of it, and the stacking, like, runes and stuff, and the gems, because I'm a huge hoarder. When it comes to my Diablo 2 stuff, like, when I played, I had, like a spreadsheet in Google Docs, so I could keep track of all my stuff, so I'd be like, alright, if somebody wants to trade me, you know, for some Frostburns, I'll have those on this alt. You know, I wouldn't have to try to remember where the stuff was. But yeah, just, because, like, I used to have whole alts for chipped gems, because maybe somebody would want to trade them for something, right? And they totally would. So, and it's just so cool to be able to, you know, play new characters and hold on to everything that seems like a little bit cool and not have it be a big hassle to move around, you know? Not have to worry about mules and all that, which, you know, is a part of the game that, you know, existed, but I don't miss it all. No, I look at, like, these quality of life changes as, like, the game as it always should have been, right? Of course, like, I'm an old person. I remember how games were in the Once Upon a Time, you know. Our expectation for suffering an unpleasant design was a lot higher. Look at all the times I have to buy potions. All the bars. Yep, yep. My assassin level 1 called Chips is, you know, we got to delete her. She worked for a long time. Mids and lows, those long suffering, long, hard hour working rune alts all subsumed into the fires to allow me to make more characters. Poor Chips. Because, like, my idea of, like, the greatest day, right, is when you find somebody that's going to trade you, like, an ist for 120 chipped gems, and you just go into the room, and you just, like, control-click the whole inventory, and they all fall on the ground. And, of course, they're reliable, and you don't get scammed, because why would that ever happen? It's, you know, you only deal with the finest people in the modern era. Alright, less than a bar till we get a put spirit on, and boy oh boy can I not wait. It's really the doubling of the mana that I care the most about. Nah. Also, the 2 levels bonus to the Blizzard will be nice. Because, you know, we're not going to be putting any points into Blizzard at all. Because Blizzard, in their wisdom, Blizzard the company, decided that Frozen Orb didn't need good synergies, because the best spell that ever existed didn't need to be that good, actually. Whatever. It's fine, I'm gonna use it anyway. Sapphires in the helm helps. Yes, the thing is I'm so skittish when I play hardcore, so we have, you know, we're doing a 114 life mask type of thing. Like that's and if we ever take it off, it'll be for resist or something. I'm very much of the school of just try to stay alive in hardcore. Like I'll just go to town and get more, you know. Hey, we got the level. Most excellent indeed. We're going to take the strength points too, which is going to let us get a bigger belt. And we're only a couple of levels away from our insight as well, which, you know, this is really the time when having access to a previous set of stuff really shines. Boom, baby. An increase of, you know, 50% to our mana. And, of course, all the other wonderful stuff that goes along with it. Really, it's mana. We got a terrible magical Zorlos. 33 fast cast is fine, but that's, like, not a break point, right? Because, well, we've got 25 there, but the break point's at, what, like 68 or something? Why don't I just check? 63, yeah. But we take the strength points, which is going to allow us to wear this cool plated belt with 41 life. And that hit recovery plus the 55 there will actually be like at a really good hit recovery spot. And we could put on the mesh belt actually instead, which would give us huge light and fire resist in addition to it. You know, we'll just go with this one, but probably swap to that one in Nightmare. That's a nice belt. And we got a Sorky amulet for 27, but yeah, let's just go ahead and get to it just a couple more levels till we can throw the insight on the Merc, and then we'll get lore. Be a bunch of good stuff to be had, and then, you know, more levels into Dex to get up to max block. The work is never done, right? But we're about to start feeling so strong. And already we're noticing the immense amount of extra cast that we get out of everything. Alright, yeah, listed damage for Blizzard right now at 86 to 123 just from those extra 2 skill levels. Just so good, right? Like, that's a big old chunk of damage for normal. Fanat on our boys here, everyone's favorite crew of Doom Knights. Yeah, this is... Man, really just Spirit having the 100 mana on it makes it worth carrying. Get back here, Lord DeSace. I want to hit you with my fireballs. Alright, and we don't need to save all of these skill points. You know, we need 4 saved up for level 30, so... I'm like, I guess we just hadn't been spending them yet. So at what, level 27? Yeah, at 27 we need to stop spending them so that we'll have a point for Orb, Cold Mastery, Fire Mastery. Wait, no, we only need 3. There's not a capstone for Fire. Did they make Hydra good? Surely not. That sort of dream isn't supposed to come true. Hydra's always been bad. I've always wanted it to be bad. I do have Hydra on my, I had a Paladin. You can spend, like, a whole bunch of expensive runes on a Paladin to get the ability to proc, like, some crummy Sorceress spells sometimes. I built, like, a whole Zeal Paladin where, like, I would hit things and cast Chain Lightning and Frozen Orb and all the stuff like that. Great fun. This is actually like a pretty good shape for this encounter, because you can get this bottom area that loops around. Ooh, Saigons. First one of those? No, apparently I've already got one. Not even death can save you from me. Well, we're just gonna get a whole bunch of potions and start seeing if death can be saved after all. Alright, do we have town portals? We have 10. That should be enough to clear the big guy. Let's get to it. And the static field works the wonders. And you just run away from that, because even with big resist, it's a lot. And there we go! Of course, once you get online a little bit, you know, bosses become a different proposition of danger than they are before. You can, like, you know, run really fast and have fast casts for you know, static and stuff like that. You know, you can... When you look at what, like, the Summon Necromancer does to bosses and then compare it to how a Sorceress makes it look, you know, it's a whole different sort of weight class thing. But I guess we can put the Saigons in the chest. Like, are we ever gonna play a Barb on hardcore? I hope so, because I don't really know how, and I think it could be fun. These boots are theoretically never going to get worn because they don't have fast run walk on them, and that's more important than anything to me. Yes. But there we go. Diablo defeated. Put him in a bag. Send him to the back of the car and try to not have him fall over. Take that, Lord of Terror. Beat by a guy who hasn't even had too much coffee yet.
I heard later that he was defeated. And that the Soulstone were destroyed in Hellforge. except one.
Oh, Marius, why are you telling people so many secrets about the nature of good and evil? Why do you think this guy's actually Duriel?
Do as you ask. I couldn't enter that gate.
Forgive me, Duriel. Forgive me.
Oh, Marius.
Marius, give me the stone, and all is forgiven. Give it to me, Marius.
Take it. Take it, take it. I'm glad this is finally over, Duriel. Look what the stone has done to me.
You haven't failed, old man. You've done exactly as you were meant to do.
Good job, Marius.
I am not the Archangel Duriel.
You should have asked him to show some wings or something.
You have done well, Marius. Now I think you shall have your reward.
And he burns it down just to look cool, right? Like, what is he worried about? Evidence? Like, he's Bale, like... I think the scurrying of thousands of bugs under his feet might indicate something's amiss. But, you know, I think it's really just about sending a message for him. The primevals are ever concerned with the aesthetics of their actions as well as, like, you know, the practical effect. Because to them, it's not enough, you know, to simply have victory. You know, they need to show up in style and splendor. They want to demonstrate to the people of Sanctuary that they're the ones who were supposed to win the war in heaven in the first place. And you can't do that without a little, like, flair and panache. And that's what Mephisto and Diablo and Bale understood, and what, you know, and that's the funny thing about them doing the Dark Wanderer, like, Duriel thing. You know, if you just wear, like, some brown sack, like a monk, people are never gonna think you're a primeval because they are known for being so stylish and cool. And there, here you have Bale, like, clearly the inspiration for the graphic novel 300's interpretation of Lord Xerxes the Second of Persia. The thing about Bale is he looks super weird, right? Sighs. Bale. And he realizes they have closed the gates behind him, which is not ideal. They'd be like, go away, Bale. You're not supposed to be here, Bale.
Bale!
Never should have come here.
The gates of Secheron have stood for eons beyond remembrance, and you shall not breach them now. Remove your foul demons from our lands. We stand on the side of light. You shall not be allowed to reach Mount Ariat. And that which you seek will not be yours.
You know, big respect to this guy, though, because, like, what an important job. You know you're gonna die. You know, even before the gate closed, when you realize it's actually Bale there, you know that you're gonna die. Why'd you take your hat off? Put your hat back
I
on.
shall take your position into consideration.
Like, do you really want to die hatless?
Well, it seems your terms are not acceptable.
What a guy. What a guy. What a great animation, though. Distorted screen. Bale. Oh, right. We can't wear them yet. And we press forward. Boats against the current and all that. But we'll be able to lean on Blizzard until 30, because just the small amount of plus skills from Spirit. Well, and then we'll get another plus from when we put on our +1 amulet here in a second. It'll be a wonderful time. And then we'll have Orb and be able to level Orb. Blizzard's so strong, but the thing is that you can't get it to as strong as you want it to be, you know. Playing solo requires making compromises in order to deal with the immunities that you find in Hell, right? That's the reality of it. Look, if cold immunes didn't exist, I would probably just play Blizzard. I love Blizzard. It's a great spell. But cold immunes do exist. Just so many of them. You know, if we could all have our preferences, Hydra would be a good spell, and Orb would be stronger, and I would play Hydra Orb and be the happiest boy in the world. But we can't all have everything. Only some of us can have everything. If you're wondering why you don't get everything, it's because I used up all of your wishes whenever they made the Warlock expansion, and I can stack things in my stash. So I'm not sorry. I would do it again if you somehow got entitled to more wishes, and then I took them, I would take them to make the stash stack them even higher. That's just the kind of guy I am. I want you to have to find out this way. But this is like my favorite part of the game, if we can live through it, which is just like, oh, unpleasant rubber banding. Never like to see that on hardcore. No, you do not. But it's, you know, right when you're, you get, you know, this level, because you can get your spirit, you can get your insight aura, you get your good spells. and they don't slow down for a while, right? Like you can play for a good hot minute on the back of, you know, Blizzard if you're doing that, you know, Orb off of whatever you're doing. You know, you don't have to get a lot of gear for a good 20 levels. Like 30 to 50 is just an awesome time for almost every class, because Nightmare doesn't really power spike that hard, in my opinion, or difficulty spike, I guess I should say. You know, Nightmare doesn't get as hard as you get Strong. But then by the time you get to Hell, you know, you've got other problems, you know, like if you're adequately prepared for survivability, if you're adequately prepared for other considerations, like dealing with immunes or, you know, movement and hit recovery due to higher mob densities, all of that kind of stuff. The importance of cannot be frozen and how it increases when, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the real important thing, of course, is that now our belt has 16 slots. Dude, it's pretty good. Yeah, I thought so too. Lightning Resist is nice. Those are the ones we got off of Diablo, I think. I just didn't get rid of them yet. And Lightning Resist is okay. My thing is just that I value movement speed super highly for this, and I just can't foresee a situation where we'd be wearing boots that didn't have movement speed on them. So after a bit, we're going to be pushing strength to get to 95 so we can wear the Alder's boots, and then we'll get a huge fire resist chunk there. We've got a rune word for the lightning and lightning absorb helm, which we wear in certain situations in Hell, but yeah, I just didn't want to sacrifice the movement, really. I don't really prioritize Magic Find at all on hardcore. I'm too skittish. Half freeze duration is good, and maybe I could have worn him for like a level, like before we put Rhyme on at 29. Have I ever found love? Yeah. But in my experience, you gotta wear too much Magic Find gear in order to do that, and, you know, you really lose resilience that way. You can end up dead. So, you know, no point in trying to go out and find that low drop rate. sketchy, not too bad, just a little sketchy. Man, the music in this game is so good. You know, sure, I've heard the songs like a billion times. They're still so good. Although, I don't know why it always hits me whenever I'm in the Worldstone Keep when I'm like, hey, this is the music on the menu. I think we're gonna need like some throwaway armor to put amethysts in here in a second. Because the thing that we've made insight in, the Act 2 Merc won't have the strength to wear it quite yet. We could make another one, it's not that great of an insight. Mr. Thresh Socket. Like, we have all this trash, but I don't want to spend like a nice serpent skinned armor on it, right? We gotta... I think I have a little more sense than that. Passage Crystalline. Moonlords can be slowed in this difficulty, but not the higher ones, maybe? Because they're not, like, cold immune, but I feel like they don't get slowed higher on. These guys, of course. Not quite cold immune yet, but not too dangerous to the blizzard. And immediately making it to the glacial trail. But is the river here from the passage, though? Or is the frozen river off of the, I think these are questions I should remember. I probably could remember if I tried. But we also just need to level up some, so. Because really, I don't want to, like, have to drop a bunch of potions on the ground at the agents so that I don't run out of mana while we're fighting them. Enchant Moonlords, pretty rough stuff there, but you know, you just drop the sky on them. Yes. Abominable. The abominable. The snowman. Abominable. I know how to say it, I'm just having fun. Oh. We got Flying Temptresses with Might. The Might comes from this dude, Pulse Thirst the Slayer, who is now Pulse Thirst the Slayed. That's what his mama called him. She knew this day would come. Death's Advocate approaches. That's a bunch of dudes. I mean, for normal. But these nice high density areas are super good for our build, of course. Get them into a hallway of the thickness of a blizzard or the thickness of a meteor. No, usually it's just fireball, honestly. The build's called Meteorb, nobody knows why. No, for historical reasons. Pre-synergy stuff, I think, is why it's called that. No, you still do use meteor, but, you know, mainly it's fireball. Because it's, you know, meteor's still a synergy, and you still do cast it. Usually it's... A lot of packs just are going to die before a meteor falls on them, right? If you just, you know, cast fireballs. So for them, it doesn't really make sense to cast a meteor, does it? I mean, what, like for this style? I mean, look how long it takes. And that's very good, but, you know, you could just do that, and then they all fall down. You can move on. But there are plenty of packs where the meteor is called for. You know, not going to carry it right now. Totally might carry it situationally in the future. Because, like, 15 on a grand, that's not, like, a huge amount of resist. And the cold damage is meh. But, I mean, you get it at level 11. So, if you put that on, like, a physical damage character, that could be fine. And there definitely are situations where you want to move gear around once you find a thing. And you're like, that's going to take me, you know, down to 60 from max resist or whatever. And then, you know, if you can just find a way around that, you don't have to care too much. Alright, the Merc is just a few short mob kills away from making us the happiest boy in the world. We'll come back to town and figure out how much strength we need when the time comes for him. Won't take too long. We're fighting appropriately leveled creatures in big masses. That's just what our faithful Merc wants to see, of course. And then, like, a whole new world and, like, fantastic way of being will appear before us when we basically don't have to drink mana potions anymore. It's real nice. Frozenstein here was cold immune, you know. One of the first genuine immunes you're likely to see in the game, probably. Should be like, hero, Nilithok did this to me, and I'll be like, I will rescue you in return for 1 scroll of 10 resist all. No more, no less. That's all I want. Boom, baby. We're overcap on a bunch of stuff, but we'll go under when we drop the gemmed kite shield of perfect diamonds for Rhyme. Because getting cannot be frozen and the much higher block chance is more important than what we're doing here. But we're not terribly far off on dex from being at parity with block. Our Rhyme is like a 60%, so we'll have to go a little over what you would think of as like proper dex efficiency in order to make it, but that'll be fine. Because as we have discussed at great length, the most important points are the last ones between you and Cap. Each percentage point of reduction matters more than the one before it. Oh, level 27 for the Merc. Why are you so far? Oh, that reminds me, we'll have a an amulet also. We did it! We got to level 27, the most important level. Alright, so he has 88. No, let me go back. Why am I the way I am? Alright, so he needs 95 strength. I don't think there's... Oh yeah, we could put lore on. But if we put lore on, you know, that's skills and stuff. We would lose 100 life. I don't think we're gonna wear it. We could just put a couple amethysts in this crummy little crown. How many does he need? Not that many. Alright. Congratulations, buddy, you're strong, and this pike can go back in the box where it will be known as the kind of strong-ish ability pike that's not very quick and not very good, really, for the benefit of all. Alright, and now it's about time to be the happiest sorceress in the world, because no one is going to break our style or hold us down now. We are about to have infinite ammo! Oh, look how great it is. We don't have to worry. Because let me tell you, managing resources is important, but that's the part of reality that stinks. Having infinite ammo, that's what's fun. No, we all know that you shouldn't just start a game with infinite ammo. You gotta work toward having it. And it's not truly infinite, it's just very large amounts. And if you wait for very long at all with insight on, especially with the interaction with warmth, it's just even level 1 warmth with a couple other points in it every now and then, you know, really gets it done. That reminds me, Sorceress skill, Amulet. Now, this 30 Magic Find Amulet is, like, technically, you know, an amulet, but... like, the alternate thing would be to use this Life and Resistance Amulet, which... that much Life and Resist may not be worth a skill. If it was, it would be worth it before the Gemmed Mask was, right? We'll figure it out. You know, we've got a lot of those life resist amulets, right? At level 30, we'll have an even nicer life one with less resists. But Nightmare shouldn't be too tough. In fact, I rather expect to just bowl right over it, if we don't die. Fortunately, we run super fast. A lot of vitality as well, which gives you more stamina for the running. Stamina is another one of those mechanics where you have to worry about it at the beginning of the game, and it's super annoying. And then, basically, you don't want to always run because it messes with your ability to block and, like, avoid attacks. But the game never really explains that to you. And often, moving quickly is better than that anyway. It just depends. Because if you can move fast enough to not get hit, you don't get an animation for blocking. And animations can sometimes be very bad for you indeed. It just sort of depends on what else is around. There were definitely ways back in the day, like if you got a bunch of little dudes around you, where you could get just locked into an animation of blocking and trying to recover from hits. We have pretty dang fast hit recovery already. You don't need too much to get down to a very respectable amount of frames. Like, did we get Eisenhearts yet? Yeah, that's right. I remember. We've got one in the box. You wanna identify everything for the old Chronicle, right? Because the game now keeps track of if you've identified everything, which I think is just the coolest. Man, meditation aura though. Like, how does a sorceress even live? Sure, they got all their tools for getting more mana, but you know it's better? Meditation aura. So you can just not cast for like a little while and then you'll have mana again. It's not like you have to wait 30 seconds. Certainly, if you just wait, like, 3, you're gonna have enough for a good cast, or, like, for a Nova, or a Teleport, or something. Tons of HP on that guy. So what I did there, don't try that at home. It's probably fine on normal, but you shouldn't do it. Please don't catch me doing something like that on the hell difficulty. Don't. You are a sorceress, but don't teleport blind in places on hardcore that have moon lords. Just, it's not. Don't do it. That's too dangerous of a mob to be messing around with. What if there's a pack that was extra fast, right? You know, we'd probably be fine. Probably. But don't do that. Hey, a Rao rune. Always good to see. Alright, shouldn't need any special preparation. They're just the ancients, right? They're scarier for some characters than other. Alrighty, let's go. Alright, there's two of them down. And there's the third one. Good deal. The Ancients. Again, they're more difficult with some characters than with others. Gets us to 29, and before we know it, we'll be at the real level. Level 30. We only need 3 levels there, so we'll spend 2 here, and that'll still give us 3 levels on level 30, which we'll definitely get before we run into Bale, which means we'll have Orb, which means I'll be the happiest boy. Man, I love Sorceress, and this is where she really shines, right? Because all her skills are so strong, and the littlest bit of plus to skills just adds up so far. It'll be nice to get to Nightmare and get a Merc with the actual good aura, the old Holy Freeze. That's going to really you know, be a source of considerable comfort for the rest of the game too, because Holy Freeze stacks with regular freeze and does of course work even on cold immunes, keeping everything nice and tidy. Oh, we could put Rhyme on. Goodbye, beautiful, perfect diamond shield. Rhyme. Now, Rhyme, you know, you lose the resist from perfect diamond shield. But you get magic find, which is fine. You get resist all, which is fine. Fast block rate is excellent and the chance of blocking good, but really it's about getting cannot be frozen. Rhyme is, I'm pretty sure, the earliest reliable source of it. I mean, like, Ravenfrosts exist, but they're level 45. And I don't have Frosties, you know, or Ravenfrost. Frosties means Frostburns. But now we've got Cannot Be Frozen, which allows you to, you know, be much more bold moving around. Of course, it does move our resistances down a little bit. And if we go to Nightmare, you know, they'll be at, you know, 0. But we've got, you know, tools to get more resists. In general, I would say Cannot Be Frozen is just more important than that, even. Because if you get slowed, then you're going to be getting hit by a lot of things, but... You know, the resists that matter are lightning and fire, and really, I mean, fire, you can sort of fudge them a little bit, a lot in Nightmare for a while, because, well, as a sorceress, your orb is going to melt things from so far away, and, wait, we got to get World Stone too. Theoretically, we might run Bale a couple of times if we're not quite ready for Nightmare, but probably we'll just, like, run Celebratory Cows, you know, a couple of times and then go to Nightmare. Sorceress does not struggle with the transition to Nightmare. You know, you never have to worry about getting better gear, you know. We'll be at level 30, which means we'll have Orb, and then with our gear, it'll already be at level 4 Orb at level 30, so we won't be having any trouble. It'll be glorious coasting once we do it, but, you know, we'll probably just... I don't know, like, how long's the video? Only an hour and a half so far. I mean, I guess we already were in Act 4, and Act 4 is a quick one. And when you're a sorceress, you know, with good movement speed, the world tends to go a little quick too. And, you know, if we had meditation the whole time, you know, we could probably have shaved 4 hours off of our Act 1 time if we didn't have to go back and get potions the whole time, right? But if you know the area is cleared, of course, then you can teleport like a real sorceress always would. And look, if I was playing on normal and I was doing this, on softcore difficulty, that is to say, the difficulty is normal, but, you know, if I had extra lives, look, by the time you're doing this, I'm teleporting like a madman, you know, I'm drinking the potions, you couldn't catch me fighting regular mobs, you know, get to the throne room, right? But here, you know, you gotta be a little more judicious with your life. Speaking of, level 30 just around the corner, and boy oh boy, you get so much damage on level 30, because you get mastery points, in addition to the thing, so you end up doing just a zound more damage. Not least because if you're still in normal and you get it, suddenly the resists that they do have don't exist anymore for cold. And, you know, the big fire burst, I mean, it's like 30-40% damage that you get for 1 point after your skills are taken into account. And of course, with a nice blizzard, that's all you gotta do. You just you cast your stuff. This is a thing I've done many a time. You know, not on hardcore, but in my life, you know, been a lot of sitting in this room and killing these mobs. You know, gracefully, carefully, judiciously. I am level 30 now. This is the greatest time in any sorceress's life. Yeah, so fire damage up by 51%, cold resist down by 35%, and the frozen orb. Look at it. See the beauty. Orb is my favorite move ever. Like, see how it glitters? It's so beautiful. I love orbs so much. The Death Set Sash has it. Oh yeah, you know, that would be a faster way to get it. Bad overall, but hey, if you get Cannot Be Frozen early, especially if you know, you were on like, you know, a melee character where I feel like you would be rather desperate for it. Or like a Zon where you absolutely just don't want to. I'm like, why am I using regular attacks? I mean, they are, like, mana resistant, but... Oh, Lister. Such a tanky boy. Oh, we accidentally gave the Merc the potions. That could have been bad. It would be super embarrassing to die on Bale. Not embarrassing, that's not the right word. Bad. Boom, baby! Little Cathan circlet. This lance is, you know, terrible, but it has lightning damage on it. You know, it's about sending a message, and that message is that we have collected what we need to collect in order to have it in the Chronicle. Alright, glorious. We have defeated regular Bale. I mean, the outcome was never seriously in doubt, except for when we went down to half HP because I was trying to static. But static requires me holding L down, so I wasn't drinking my right potions. Luckily, I recognized it in time. That would have been... Oh, I would have screamed, but you know, in a calm and reasonable way. Dramatic percussive music! You should change the title. My titles always get antiquated. Duriel with a totally sick move. You shall not bail. Which, like, that's 100% the right way to use a sword, right? You just throw it. I mean, I get it. He didn't want to be that close whenever it went down, but he's still just standing there. He's pretty cavalier about the whole thing. But there we have it. The world stone is shattered and evil is defeated. Or is it? And now Medea becomes known as Destroyer. My girl. Alright, let's go get some cows. We will celebrate our victory with the mooing of the farm. Rakanishu, where are you? I'm here to bargain. It's like my sword's red. Oh, because of enchant. I was like, what happened to my sword? Huh. You know, it's a little interesting. 2 to combat skills for Paladin, 85 mana. It's a little interesting. Wearable, no. Not for hardcore. I mean, it could be fine, maybe. I wouldn't make hammers if I was making a hardcore Paladin. I mean, maybe if I found a Hawes, you know. Moo. Moo. Of course, you can kill the Cow King now. What a good change. And the great thing about normal cows, of course, is that they absolutely melt to like a level 3 or 4 orb. So you just get to have like the most glorious party. You know, after a long, hard day of fighting the ancients and doing whatever, you can just send your orbs around and be secure in the knowledge that You're the greatest hero of all time. Moo, they will say about you. Moo. These are the sort of things that you can expect when you become a hero of Sanctuary. The loving mooing of your adoring fans, and you might say those cows were your enemies, and those were the moos of hatred, but all I heard was, wow, you did a great job, we're super proud of you, moo. But cows are like the best way in the world to unwind, right? Not like I'm wound up after that session, it was fine. But you know, there's nothing more cool and chill than running around and slaying a lot of cows. It is traditional. Elliot, you ask, is hardcore mean if my dad game is done? Yes, exactly. The character dies and all the gear that I'm wearing on the character or in the character's personal stash or inventory goes away, as well as anything on the mercenary. So yeah, just don't ever mess up. Or rather, you can mess up, but not for very long. Even situations in Diablo 2 that aren't that dangerous, you can still die in like 3 seconds, right? A dangerous situation is one where you die in less than 1 second. Like, for all that I'm running around these cats, if I just, like, ran in the middle of them and stood there, I would probably die, right? You can't just, like, you can't just stand there. But, you know, since they can't get to me under the magic and beautiful protective rays of the frozen orb, we don't really have to worry about them. But we've already beat hardcore on the ladder. Beat it, you know, beat the highest difficulty. There's 3 difficulties of the game. Basically, you play the game 3 times in a row to beat it. Only, you know, there gets to be more enemy density, and they become, you know, they have possibility of becoming stronger in various ways and that kind of thing. But it's you know, so normal, I mean, you can still definitely die in normal, but the sort of game states that create player death become more probable as you go up in difficulties. You get the possibility of, so monsters can be uniques, which means they'll have like a special magical affix to them. You know, they'll be cold enchanted or cursed or something, right? But on the highest difficulties, they'll get like 3 or sometimes 4 affixes if they're like super uniques. And those can be very, very disastrous. You know, what if they're very fast and very strong? You know, well, now they're doing twice as much damage and you barely noticed it before they're on you. What if they're cursed as well? Well, now they're doing double damage under the curse and that's happening. What if they have something that lets them, you know, attack faster as well? Now you're looking at a perfect storm of misery. But a huge part of playing Diablo on hardcore, like, cause like people ask, you know, like if I think I'm skilled or whatever. I don't think I'm that good at Diablo. What I can do is figure out if something is sketchy pretty quick. And you have to be able to look at the screen and in, I don't know, 5 frames, the game runs at 25 frames a second, so like a good 1/5 of a second, you need to be able to figure out if you're about to die. If you can do that, then you're fine. It's not hard, right? You just gotta know how to do it. And if you can, in a fraction of a second, figure out if you're about to die, then you should never have any trouble playing on hardcore most of the time. Sometimes you can walk through a door and wake up dead. That's a knowledge thing too. You got to know which doors you might just die by walking through and try to take precautions. Sixth life jewel, this is worthless. Three socket Wirt's leg, you can totally make a rune word in it if you want. Starting us by the Cow King's land again. And the cows, like, you need pretty big magic find to get, like, good results out of them in general. But, like, I just like doing it. You know, they're a fun way to get a couple of levels. They're a good place to find, like, gray items to socket things into, especially with low magic find. You know, they're wonderful for that. You know, you can get some low rune drops pretty regularly. And they're nice for charms as well. You know, not amazing, but, you know, you run a few of them, you'll probably get at least something that's a little nice when you're pretty early in your game. They, you know, they're... The charm of cows is that they have very high density, and they're never going to surprise you, right? Like, you should always, when you walk into the cow level, because it's cows, you already know what they're going to be like. You know how fast a fast pack will move, and you know how fast all the other packs go, you know. You can walk pretty close to them and not be worried about it. You know, just have a nice little chill time. You only get, like, you know, half a level or so for a run typically, but, you know, it's all part of the fun. I love Orb. It's just so beautiful. It glimmers. It shines in the sun. Like, why would anybody want to aim when you can just cast a frozen orb? But with Orb, if you use it as your primary, you can go like so, because the last burst goes a lot, so you can do it where it bursts inside of a guy. But normally, you're not using Orb for single target damage, you know, unless they're, you know, unless they're pretty high HP. For a long time, Orb will just kill them, and then from there, Orb becomes just like a secondary opener, and you're mainly leaning on your Fireball, unless they're fire immune. And just being judicious about what packs to not even engage with at all. That's the benefit of a Sorceress, of course, is you could always just bail. Jolly good. Shall we go to Nightmare? I mean, might as well. There's a place of great evil in the land. Yes, I know. I mean, is 6 quarters just good enough to carry on a charm? Probably not, but that doesn't mean we won't carry it somewhere. And by probably not, I mean, it definitely, obviously, is not good enough. But that's okay. Nightmare is totally not ready for us. We're just gonna run over these fools as soon as we find some. Where are the fools? For I much desire to run them over. Negative fire and lightning resist. I mean, that's fine, right? Alright, so we are closing in on max block, which is very desirable even when we gotta spend like a lot of dex to get it. Since the return on vitality is so very low. Experience in Nightmare is super good, especially if you can get a high density area, which, you know, you don't find tons of at the very beginning, but... Another level, beautiful. Which we just keep on pumping orb the whole time and getting so strong. And then you get to level 50 and you're like, wait, now what? I have to go back to making my fire spells strong. I mean, it's alright. It keeps it varied, you know. Because you play through normal, you know, doing a variety of spells, fireballing it eventually, you know, and then... It's one of the reasons I love Meteorb is, like, for staying in the same, like, theoretical framework the whole time, the build, you know, plays in a varied way as you go through the game. It's not like, get hammers, cast hammers. Last guy? Yes. Glorious. Oh my goodness, I hate everything. When you use the controller interface, it won't automatically place them into the stackable things, which is just nuts. You know, how obnoxious, right? But hey. We're not going to focus on the inadequacies of the system, because the fact that we can stack them at all is very good, actually. So awesome when you can like physically see the experience bar moving up, like you just kill a pack and it just like chunks up. It's so great. That's the beauty of Nightmare, especially when you go early-ish like this, because I mean you can get like 10 more levels in normal. You can very comfortably get to level 40 before you enter Nightmare, or just like killing Bale, or even just like stuff in Act 5 generally, but Bale is, you know, the more effective way of doing it. But sit still, Blood Raven. I want to hit you with my magic. Yaw, there we go. It's about sending a message, right? Oh wow, that was a lot of damage. Well, you know, that's what not having any lightning resist will do. Or in general. We're really leaning on our big HP pool here. Probably more than is intelligent. I guess. So, like, what can we do? We've got the mesh belt, which will trade light for light resist and fire resist. That's good, right? Yeah. Trading 40 life for big resists like that, totally acceptable. And we can trade our skill level for this. For even bigger HP stuff. This takes us to a much more respectable place there. We could drop mana on the ring for, you know, lightning resist. Not amazing, but a thing we could do. And that, well, we could move to that, you know, that'll be like nuclear, because moving out of 115 life on the helm, unlikely to be a thing that I consider to be desirable at any point. Yeah, I think this is acceptable amounts here of resist. I mean, it's not amazing, but acceptable enough. Do we need this? Well, we need to start pumping strength somewhat soon if we want to get to 95 by what level 42, so... Well, take a bit of dex anyway, and then we're going to need to buffer the dex in as we go to stay at max. Whoops. Like, where is it? Down this road, probably. This road that is obviously right here. We have to get this waypoint. Very important waypoint. Not only because you have to come back for Tristram, but because, like, you have to come back to make cows every time. You have to get it. Double champ pack there. Pretty potentially rough. Nothing ultimately to worry about. They're cold immune in hell, those mobs are, and due to them being pretty quick, this makes this one of the dangerous areas in Act 1. Because anything cold immune, of course, not only are they immune to cold, but they're not going to get slowed by your cold attacks. You know, so your primary method of crowd control is eliminated. You've got to, you know, use your wits. Of course, when they're faster than you, it's hard to be witty about it. That's what the max block is for. Alright, alright. Little bit of Hunter's Most Vile, all fallen down, because Orb is the greatest. These pathways are just so good for Orb, and thus the world. Level 2 is never the entrance to the woods, but will have a chest in it. Oh boy. Fanata Hunter minions. Beautiful. Extra fast Fanat. Yeah. Ugly stuff. Pack like that's cold immune could be an absolute run ender. But, you know, that's, you know, when you're in hell, you move a lot more carefully. Plenty of packs you would just choose not to engage with. If I saw that, I would probably just bounce. And say, we'll come back later. Or not at all. We've made it to the Dark Wood, where the sun is not shining appropriately. And there's our big tree. We're just going to get the Merc back. We're not going to, of course, go to Tristram yet. It's like, oh, we've gotten 2 levels since then. Well, block is still fine. We need to start pumping strength so we can get to those better exceptional items. Now that we know we'll have them. You know, on the Necromancer, it was all vitality all the time because the idea was, well, we won't even have the skills or the gear needed for this strength to be that high. But now, you know, we've got our goals. And the Elder's Boots with their big 50 fire resist, 40 movement speed, and the life on them as well. You know, it's just a nice pair of boots that you can basically wear the whole time. Fire resist is pretty important. 50's a big chunk. Getting the run walk on there with the life, you know, like... Lightning is abstractly probably more advantageous, but we've got other sources of that, you know. We can just put on the lightning helm. Or put four Ort runes in a chest piece or something. I joke, but I bet that's pretty good. Now, we don't really need the Dark Woods waypoint, so if we find this one, and we did, then we don't have to go back to Dark Woods at all, even. Not that it's likely we would be running, you know... Nightmare Countess. Since we can do Hell Countess on the Necro, or cows, you know, but repeated magic finding run is not where I want to be for this iteration of my Diablo playing life, right? You know, get the gear we find, use the gear we find. Am I supposed to... Oh, we have to talk to the person about it. I remember. Glorious. Poor sad Griswold. Leave this place at once. Regrettably, I could do nothing to help anyone. I was sitting in a cage at the time. It's a carver party. This actually is a great camp for orb, right? Because we just carve right through it. Big enemy density is our preference. When we see those gem shrines, you're supposed to go and get, like, a flawless gem so you can up it to a perfect gem. But I always forget. Four-socket ancient armor. I mean, not really that desirable, right? Because on a Merc, we could just give him something better, and for 100 strength, you could just get something better. That's the problem with the upper end of all of the items, right? You know, the exceptional entry stuff is better than the top end of the normal quality things, and so much easier to wear. Just so much easier to wear. Like, did that one have a green hat? But this sort of, like, throwing the orb through the door thing, that is, like, the classic orb sork move, right? You open a door, you toss an orb, and then if anything comes through it, you might be in trouble. One great thing about wells, they clear curse. One annoying thing about curse is it lasts like forever. There's ways to decrease how long it lasts, but they're like paladin related. And if you're not already a paladin, chances are you're not one. Fortunately, jail is a perfect area for the sorceress. You know, you've got decent enemy density, blockers for them that aren't line of sight blockers and aren't orb blockers, so it's very easy to get. Pretty powerful thing going. Found the waypoint. Wow, this is useless. No, I mean, you don't, like, not get the waypoint, you just don't care if you get the waypoint. Pit spawn foul dog. What a name. I'm sure he's a good dog. Good electric dog. Life Leech and Mana Leech Ring? I mean, theoretically fine. Could hold on to that. So, I mean, level 21 getting some life and Mana Leech, I mean, like on like a Zon, that would be amazing. And I totally might make a Zon after this. You know, we've already got a Kuko Shikaku, which I love this bow so much, you know. Got your damage, got your fire damage. Fire's explosive arrows, you know, it really lets you get like some elemental play for a bit. And when you first get it, like, it does a lot of good work. And then, you know, we'll probably be able to make like a sweet, or at least a decent bow rune word by the time that we get up there. If we do. I love Zon. Zon's got a lot of good survivability sort of stuff. You know what isn't survivable? Teleporting blind. But I figured I could get away with it, and so far I'm right. Look, I've played a lot of Sorceress. Enough to know I shouldn't do stuff that I do. But I'm not gonna just like go through a door just because it's dumb to teleport a lot. I will probably die on hell difficulty because of this. But we'll try to get responsible before we get there, right? And you might be thinking, does not one build responsibility through practice and correct action? Well, yeah, they do. They certainly do. And that's, like, this is why Sorceress is the best. Because, like, sure, we could die doing this, but look at all the time we saved. Like, think of all the time we would have had to spend walking around to get to wherever it is we are here, instead of just elegantly teleporting through. It'll be over here, right? It's gotta be after all that. Nope, it does not gotta be. And Cathedral, which can be like a big headache, but for an orb sork is not at all. It is no source of head pain whatsoever. For everything here is prey to us, except maybe the big guy, but we can stab him. I think he might be fire cold immune already. Not Puke Break the Dark, he's just a dude. Oh, Bone Ash, no, he doesn't get fire immune yet, just cold. I'm like, what happened to my mana? Oh, he's dead. Anytime you notice your mana not actively going up, it is because your Merc with Insight has kicked the Merc bucket. He has knocked it over on the way down, and you need to pick him back up off of the Merc ground. And although the orb won't scout, you can sometimes tell if stuff's in. If the bodies fall, they'll fall, and you can see if the orbs, like if the frost bolts are running into anything, which can be very handy too. You hit a door, the orb breaks, but you can totally throw an orb through a door like so to great effect. You know, if Sorceress started with Frozen Ore, more people would know how good she is. No, I'm just playing. Everybody knows Sorceress is great. She hardly needs an easier early game, given how cartoonishly awesome things get before too long. I mean, like, look at a room like that, and then you just all falls down. You pick up your loot, if there is any. Move on to the next set of demonic victims. Have we got an Eisenhart's breastplate yet? I don't recall. Yes. Makes sense. You know, you sort of expect that all the early game set stuff you've got in there, but... you know, you hardly want to leave it on the ground. Not like you won't get another one. You know, making a rhyme in a tower shield would be even better. It'd be 4% better. I think actually the block speed on a tower is poor compared to a bone shield. Where is she? She's gonna come out soon. I was hoping to get more of these guys, but she's gotta come out soon. Alright, she doesn't have to. There she is, though. You know, we got a little bit of static on. Look, it was messy. We didn't get a good engage there, right? There we go. I was like, there's no point in going back to time to get the Merc at that point in the fight. course, as a consequence of spending all of these levels buffing Orb and not Fire, the Fire spell doesn't really dent her that much. But that's okay. Like, do we trade 11 resist all for 22 life? I don't think so. A resist all has to be worth more than 2 life each. Like, wouldn't we take a 62 resist all max over that? I mean, probably. Because we can just put ground on him, right? And then he'll get huge lightning resist plus absorb already. And then he'll just be like, you know, fine for anything like that. Which will be fine for Act 2, right? Yeah. And then, you know, if we need it, we'll just grab it. But the caravan is prepared. You know, we win. We win. We get out of Act 1. Glorious day. It's like... I wanted to... I guess we could play a little bit more, right? Because my plan was to take a break around noon. And we still have time. We really clipped through Act 1 so fast I forget how quick you can move when you are a sorceress and you are behaving less than perfectly carefully. Oh, right. We can get a different Act 2 merc now. I remember. Let's go do it. We'll just toss the helm. We'll get another one if we need it, right? Goodbye, Asab. We will replace you with a different guy. A better guy. This guy. Alright, does Fuzzle have a Holy Freeze? No, he has Defiance. Alright, who's got a Holy Freeze? Who's the best name with Holy Freeze? We got Razan, Pratham, and Kasim. I kinda like Kasim. That's a good name. Holy Freeze Merc is, of course, the absolute gold standard. It is the greatest. But there we go. There's the Holy Freeze. And now, if something is colded and Holy Frozen, you know, they move very slow indeed. And there's the survivability boost that we need to carry all the way through Nightmare. And of course, the Merc does very respectable physical damage also, but really it's about carrying the meditation aura and the additional freeze utility. As a Sorceress, you don't really rely on your Merc to do very much. In Hell, sometimes there are packs where they're cold and fire immune, but you still need to kill them. It's not that common, but... for those, you can get it. So annoying when you get an experience shrine, you can't even get a fight for a while. You're like, no, my extra experience. 50% wasted. Thrown into the veritable drain. But they make up for it by having another one right here. Is that the sound of a rune? No, it wasn't. Some say the taste of vengeance is bittersweet, but I find it to my liking. Of course, Kasim's going to have no trouble with the lightning because we've got max resist plus absorb on him, so he's just going to run right through it. Hey Neo, what's up? Nice to know I'm on your radio once more. This video, I keep on saying we're gonna end it soon, but I keep on having such a good time now. I was trying to end it around noon, you know, get a nice luncheon, shave my head, and you know, get the stubble away. Just leave the mustache that I am known for, you know, because you get enough hair on your face, people can't really even see that there's a mustache there. You know, they have to squint. Of course, on the radio, the mustache barely comes across at all. A shell room, don't mind if I do. Takes like so many potions. Like, I think it's 3 greater healing potions to fill up my life bar. Maybe it's just 2. But you know, usually you just try not to need them, right? There's the Lost City, but obviously we want to go to the lair first. The lair, a place that I absolutely despise on Necro, and it's totally fine as a sorceress, honestly, it's fine. Beetle Burst is cold immune, we'll put the fire on him. Seven lightning resist on a small charm? Yeah, we'll wear that. We will definitely wear that. That is nice. If I had 10 of those, I'd probably keep them in the inventory. I mean, you can get more than 7 resist on a small charm, but 7's a big old chunk of resist. It's not nothing. It's a huge portion of what you need to get. Nightmare continues to go so well. I knew it would. You know, Nightmare is the best part of the game for an orb sork, because it falls off very far falls off very far in hell difficulty, very far indeed. You know, it's just not that strong. It takes a lot, and then of course the prevalence of immunities means that, you know, you've got to play differently maybe than you had dreamed. But dude, through all the Nightmare though, you are the absolute champion. And really, it's not till like Act 3 Hell where you really notice it start falling off. We need the waypoint here just so we'll have like a jumping back point. we've also explored so much of it that reason dictates that it'll just have to be like right here, because there's nowhere else in the frickin' oasis for it to be, right? Right? No, we still don't get it. Over here? Question mark? Huh. Ah, we teleported right over it. Funny. Hey, I think we've actually already got this belt. The old snake cord, right? Yeah, we've totally already ID'd one, but that's okay. The second one we'll almost certainly remember the identification of. 7 gold charm, useless. And of course, those mobs, super annoying though they are, don't really function so well in hallways when you can just like walk away from the burst. Eating a potion because we took a poison and I don't want to have to worry about it. You just eat a potion, it'll probably cover it. And of course, orb works actually very well in these hallways, and stuff like Blizzard, you know, which will always target right where you want to be, firewall. Sork has a bunch of very good tools for densely packed areas like this. Of course, they get like cold immune. Well, the big guy at the end gets cold immune in hell. I don't think the other ones do, though. And then just like that, you know, you're back on track. And that's what I love about Sorceress. When you know you cleared a thing, even going down the wrong hallway is barely an inconvenience to you. Because a couple of casts later, and you'll be in the know. Bash him on down. Coldworm the Burrower gets cold burrowed. And there we are. The Staff of Kings, you astound me. And then just in time for the Alder's boots, we'll be able to wear them, which will get our resist into a totally reputable thing, and would be a nice upgrade from the Vidella's Fetlock, you know. We'll get our fast movement, which is so important, fire resist, life, you know, they're just very decent boots. Nothing flashy, no magic find, you know. Just simple, honest, beautiful boots. And we travel through the Lost City. We might have, I'm like, no, I don't think the trigger is on entry. It's just being here for a little while. Yeah, I'm like I don't think I've ever seen it not get dark. It's got to, right? It does. Levels just come so quick. Alright, there's our 95 strength, just what we need. And at this point, maybe we think about pushing to 150 strength for a Spirit offhand. I mean, a Spirit Monarch is super good. We already have the Monarch. We can burn a socket into it with our quest. Spirit Monarch, because you get skills, you get fast cast and the big hit recovery, you know. Spirit's 110 hit recovery, and that gets you to all but your very last breakpoint, which I think is at like 200, which is not really that doable. Of course, you got to spend 50 more strength on it, but, you know, you're getting the vitality on the shield with the 22, so you're really only sinking, you know, when you think about it. But a door like this, see, tombs are awesome as a sorceress because it doesn't matter what's inside a door. You just pop it like this. Where it gets a little frisky, you run out. Before long, you walk in and you pick up the gear. all claw vipers, no undead down here. Okay, no. One undead in the corner. Okay, I was like, that was super weird to not have any guardians. But I guess we'll continue on. I mean, like, if we're this close to the end of Act 2, I mean... Of course, because we know that it is very quick to get through here. And any danger that might be incurred can be just eliminated by teleporting through. And that's just one of the many ways in which teleport can trivialize a whole zone. There, of course, we know where the exits are going to be. We always know, so it's quite simple. Here, we take a thing that could be annoying and make it amazing because, of course, Orb shows up super well on all of these architectures, and the things that actually make it harder to walk around don't affect me at all. Another one of those bad for a necromancer, great for a sorceress zones. Of course, the specters going over nothingness and dying stops you from getting drops, which is very annoying. See, like, right here, these poor Hell Clan, you know, like, won't someone think of their feelings whenever we bombard them? They can't even do anything about it. Poor little goats. Poor little Bardiche wearing guys. I don't feel that bad for them. Arcane's super good XP, especially when you can clear it this quick. Like, you can do a fair few levels in it if you're so inclined. I prefer to just push forward, like, basically all through Nightmare. Like, if you think you can hack it a Nightmare, I'll just go about as quick as one can. And that's my preferred method of doing it. Figuring, you know, if we can get to late Nightmare, then we can slow down in Act 5, you know, when the really good drops start opening up. Or, you know, push to Mephisto, then you can just farm him if you really need gear, that kind of idea. Not that we are doing magic find farming in this era. I don't really intend to. I mean, you gotta kill Mephisto a couple hundred times to see the drops. You know, we might kill him one extra time, but I'm trying to move it forward, right? Looks like another miss, but again, you can hardly mind when they go as swiftly as all this. Am I playing on PC? Yes, I am. With the controller, though, I find it is just a lot more playable on a controller. Although sometimes I do switch over to the old keyboard and mouse for inventory management, buying potions and stuff like that. You do the same thing, yeah. It's so, like, some stuff, you know, when you want to teleport exactly on a spot, it doesn't do what you want. All right, do we take this? The run walk is fine, and the mana is a big chunk. You know, with meditation, it's not too much of a worry, but I think it's fine to take. If we miss the inventory space, we can move away from it, but run walk's always fine. Trying to find like a sweet spot in the meta. If I could just get some frost burns, but you know the game hasn't given me any. Again, inventory space is abstractly nice, but it doesn't matter at all. You can always just take a little bit more time to look at whatever. You're not magic finding, you know, like you're trying to live in hardcore, so getting resources through charms, part and parcel of trying to do it. Although maybe I should be spending them on resists instead of mana. And we find the last one again. Gem, garbage, life leech, fire resist ring, potentially worth taking. You know, in the long term, if I ever play a physical character. Teleporters, of course, the most annoying one unless you're playing Sorceress, in which case it's, you know, just fine, actually. And we engage in a totally safe manner. Alright, circle is the truth. Hellslingers, that's so much damage. I'm not. Well, excellent. Glad you could make it. Sorry for not being interesting, but you know, as you know, I don't feel like the burden of the expectation of being interesting, which is good because I am like super boring all the time. But I'm glad you got home safely. When you started, we were at the beginning of Act 2, and now we're almost at the end of it again, but you know. Once you start on it, you realize, man, as a sorceress, you can really move quick. You know, you're really only limited by, like, how bold you are and how gutsy you want your behavior to be as a sorceress when it comes to moving through the game. An awesome room. Tombs are amazing ways to get experience once you're at this point. Like, we could actually just get, like, 10 levels running tombs before we move on to Act 3, but we'll probably move to Act 3 just because we can. Oh, hey, Joker. But, you know, I always think, well, if they're not watching, we need to definitely live, because if I go, no, I died, then, you know, someone listening, you know, they won't know how. That'd be terrible. You wouldn't want to confuse people. Garbo charms, so we toss them. What a lot of guys. That's the thing about the tombs. They are super high density, and that is why you run them. Well, and to move forward. That is also why you run them. Alright, time for Duriel. This fool, of course, super annoying. But it's not so bad, you know. You come in, you static him, and then you try to pop him, you hope you don't die. Easy peasy. And then we just go to burn mode. Come on, get him. Get him. Come on, get him. He just got a lot of hit points, right? And we have not been pumping our fireball, which you definitely see there. He's got huge cold resist, though. There's not really a point in trying to hit him with orb. You know, it just doesn't have the punch that you need to get through. So instead we use our, you know... So orb hit, you know, does 200 for a hit now, right? And our fireball is still at a measly 315. So those 10 levels in orb, you know, they've definitely... you know, far past over where the fireball is at. But that's the thing, is that's the point of the build, you know, you get what you can done with what you have access to. You know, you do cold damage while it's good. You move to fire damage when it gets better. You know, you jump back and forth. You figure out what you got to do to get there. Duriel is a super annoying fight because the arena is so small and he's so quick. You know, most of the other bosses, you know, they don't melt your mercenary quite that fast. They still will get it like all the way murdered, but Duriel, I think, has like a... Like, if he gets your merc to 50% HP, he'll just one-shot him. Which is why you never see your mercenary at, like, low HP on Duriel. It's always dying or dead. But there we go. Act 2 completed. So we've done 4-5... 4-5-1-2 Nightmare in this session. Do I keep on playing or not? Well, it's been 3.5 hours. That's a good length for a session. We're 30 minutes over time budget, but I was trying to finish Act 1 by then, and now we're already in Act 3. Do I keep on going anyway? Maybe? I mean, starting Act 3 is a good place to start, though. Yeah, you know, stopping now would be good. Yeah. After all, if we go too much further, then we're gonna want to get, like, all the way to the bazaar before we stop. We can get our bird. Get a little bit more HP. We've been at basically the same amount of hit points since, like, the end of normal, which is fine, you know. We haven't really got very much gear improvement in the last 15 levels, but we got a massive gear improvement then. Of course, there's still, like, we could get armor and socket for resistances. We could get armor and socket for health, you know, because with the run speed, we're not in such conditions that we need to worry about it. Oh, and level 42. Oh, it's 45, not 42. Anyway, 45 will be able to take these, and then at least, you know, big life, big fire resist, and the run walk on there, and we'll be able to I mean, really, 50 fire resist is very excellent indeed, and that'll at least get us to a nice 0 for hell in that gear. Although we'll take some kind of precaution towards improving our gear. We might swap the body armor for smoke to get 50 resist all. That's a choice we might make. We'll see. For right now, we're going to go ahead and end before I continue on for too much more. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Medea the Destroyer with her very lifeful helmet, her face obscured by the mask, but her brilliant eyes peering behind it, casting frozen orbs, being a big old hero. I just love her so much. But anyway, that's going to do it for right now, and then we'll take a little break. I'll be back on later today playing something. Maybe I'll see you guys there. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Later, Elliot. Later, Vinidalis. Later, Joker and Neo. Later, Security and Kemi. Hope you all are doing well, and maybe I'll see you later on.